Welcome everyone to Breaking Big Blue. I'm your host Jordan Ron on ESPN, ESPN.com. Giants reporter. I'm here. I'm going to utter a phrase that has never, ever been uttered on this podcast. Victory Friday. It's a Victory Friday episode. Giants haven't won on the Thursday night prior to yesterday. I'm taping this on Friday morning. Since 2015. So, we have never done a Victory Friday podcast. That's what this is right now. And not only is it any old victory, the Giants beat the big bad Philadelphia Eagles, the defending champions, who have Saquon Barkley, who won the Super Bowl with the division rival, on the other side. And they did it, and this is the part that just, if you're the Giants and you're the Giants organization or you're a Giant fan, just has you waking up this morning, I'm taping this on Friday morning, just over the moon. They did it because Jaxson Dart, the quarterback, the young quarterback who is the future of this franchise and the long-term success of this organization is going to be largely contingent on how good Jaxson Dart is, was unbelievable. And there's signs that he's going to be a super high-end quarterback. His ability to move with his legs, his ability to avoid pressure, feel pressure in the pocket, make throws. We'll talk about this in a few minutes. Some of those passes he threw, the touch on them, the placement on them. I think even when Theo Johnson dropped in the middle of the field, that might have been his best pass of the day. Jalen Hyatt in the corner of the end zone, it was knocked out. Obviously, pass interference was called. Again, just dropped perfectly in there. The play where he runs around, the Wan'Dale Robinson touchdown, second touchdown of the game, where he avoids probably three different guys in the pocket. Basically sprints out right, finds Wan'Dale Robinson on the right sideline. He breaks a tackle, and then he runs in the end zone for a touchdown. I mean, these things just have you excited about the Giants' future. And I was on DPHO in Rothenberg this morning because I was driving home last night. I'm like, well, at the very minimum, what is Jaxson Dart? He's already better, in my opinion. His floor is already above what Justin Fields is as a quarterback. Right? And Justin Fields is a guy you could probably win with if you have the right situation around him. And it needs to be a perfect situation where he can run and make plays, not super accurate passing. Jaxson Dart's accurate throwing the football. So he has that ability to run similar to what Justin Fields is. So that's what I'm saying. That's what his floor is already. But he already throws the ball better, so he's a slight notch above that. And then just with room to grow. Right? And when you say room to grow, like to where? Well, I don't want to put him in this category yet. But this is the fact. 3 games. First 3 career starts. 50-plus rushing yards. Lamar Jackson, Jalen Hurts, and now Jaxson Dart. That's the company he's keeping in regards to the damage he's done with his legs in his first 3 starts. Now, I'm going to take you through what I heard in the locker room. We're going to go through later, because this kind of came to my head as I was driving home last night, too. This was the Giants' best win since... and we'll fill in the blank there. The games that are even comparable for the Giants over the last decade or so, or better. So we'll get to that in a few minutes. But, I mean, Jaxson Dart said after the game, somebody asked him, it was Connor Hughes actually, SNY, says it's a statement game. Because he talked about how there's been a negative connotation and narrative around the team. And yeah, you lost 18 in their past 22 games. So that's naturally what's going to happen. And then guys hear it. And guys like him and Skattebo. Cam Skattebo was great too. 3 touchdowns in this game. Running hard. Running over the Eagles middle linebacker, Zach Bowen. Those 2 guys who have brought in a completely fresh perspective. A completely fresh mindset and approach. Because maybe they're just the naivety. It's a bonus for them. They don't have that losing past here. They're looking at it as like, hey, we've won in college. We've won in high school. We're not coming here to lose. Like, we're going to come here and we're going to win here too. Everybody thinks that. But then you get here and you start losing, and it almost seems normalized. But these guys, they seem to have a different approach. And Jaxson Dart said, naturally, yeah, this is a statement game. We just beat the defending champs. By the way, the first time the Giants beat the defending Super Bowl champions since 1998 when they beat the Broncos. So it's been a long time since they beat the defending champions. It's been a long time since they won a division game. They had lost 8 straight. They hadn't beaten the Eagles very often. They beat them in a meaningless game at the end of the 2023 season. Right, when no one played their starters. They had lost 7 of 8. So basically, the last time they beat the Eagles was 5 years ago under Joe Judge. It's been a long time. So that's where this Giants team, some of the things that they accomplished with this game. And then Jaxson Dart, the reasons he said, it was a statement. And Cam Skattebo, same thing. We're coming here to win. We're changing this. We don't want this losing narrative. We don't want to be looked at that way anymore. And the whole rest of the NFL, they were watching this game. And they saw. And now they know. I really do. I believe that now they're going to games. The other team is saying, whoa, this team actually could do some things. They could do some damage if they play well. Now there's going to be ups and downs. Tom Coughlin said this. He had his event the other day, J-Fun. His gala, annual gala. Great event as always. Tom Coughlin doing great things to help kids with families of children with pediatric cancer, actually. But he said when asked about rookie quarterbacks, because remember, he's the one who ushered in Eli. He went through the ups and downs. And he was saying, look, it's natural. Every rookie quarterback is going to have his ups and downs. There's going to be some low points. And there was 2 games in particular, he said, during Eli's rookie year. We all know about it. The Ravens game where he ended up getting pulled. Washington. And he said Eli used to come in on those and sit in his office on those days after those games and express to him and verbalize to Tom Coughlin, hey, I know I can do this job. I know we're going to be successful. So Jaxson Dart's going to have to be resilient. And he showed at least, hey, they lost in New Orleans. He played okay, but then 3 turnovers kind of ruined the game for him. 5 turnovers in a row ruined the game for the Giants. But then, look, resilient. Came back, played his best game yet. On short rest. Just go out there and play, man. Go do it. Wasn't overloaded. Didn't look like the situation had any effect on him at all, right? As a matter of fact, maybe he thrived under the spotlight. Now that Eagles team, we know they're not whole. They don't look right. I mean, their cornerbacks, first of all, they probably were without their 2 best defensive players, and Quinyon Mitchell and Jalen Carter. They were both injured. Carter didn't play at all. Mitchell left. Keely Ringo, who, God, that guy, he doesn't look like he belongs on the field. And Adoree Jackson with their cornerbacks, and Jaxson Dart, even with his receivers, should be able to take advantage of that because they were wide open. Little Jordan Humphrey stepped in, played great. Had a good game for the Giants. Amazing that they didn't even bring him up the previous game from the practice squad. And then he goes and he jumps 2 guys basically on the depth chart the second they bring him up. Like, it makes you scratch your head a little bit. And then, obviously Deonte Banks, we all know, shouldn't have been playing. They faced questions about Deonte Banks, and all of a sudden, they're, okay, well, maybe we shouldn't play Deonte Banks. Oh, yeah, you think? And so we didn't see Deonte Banks on defense. I'm not sure if at all. I'm going to look that up. But I don't. That idea of him rotating in on 3rd downs, I think we're finally done with that. Thank God. I mean, that was just a disaster. No reason they should have kept that going as long as they did. Let's see. Deonte Banks. 3 defensive snaps he played. So he snuck in for 3 defensive snaps. But a statement game, for sure. And what Jermaine Illuminor, who's a veteran, said is now that this showed to other teams what we can be. And I think that's true to a degree. Now there's something with handling prosperity. I don't think the Giants should be going out like Wan'Dale Robinson's like shooting off on X or Twitter and, saying we heard what you all said or whatever. And Kayvon Thibodeau saying F the Eagles. Like, you're 2-4. handle it like pros. Get back over 500 before you really start puffing your chest out, at least. You're still 2-4. You've road games against the Broncos, which is the defense is super tough. And then you're saying F the Eagles, Kayvon Thibodeau, you play the Eagles in 2 weeks. Think that's a good idea in Philadelphia? Doesn't seem like a great idea to me. Handle it like pros. Now let's go inside the locker room, okay? First, we'll start with Brian Daboll. I mean, that was a different Brian Daboll out there. He's at the podium. He's making little jabs at people left and right, going back and forth. And by jabs, I just mean, like little fun back and forths. Hey, how many, what was the third down percentage? Jordan? Hey, Dan, well, how many yards did this guy have? Like going back and forth. But there was a couple things that did stand out to me. He was talking about Jaxson Dart, waxing poetically my quarterback, he said, and then he quickly self-corrected. Our quarterback. I mean, Jaxson Dart is his guy, right? We know that. It was evident. It was evident when they made him the starter. It's evident now. I mean, he just fawns over him. Loves this guy. Everything about him. And it's a different looking Giants so far. And maybe we should have seen some of the clues. I know everybody was down last week. I smashed them after that loss to New Orleans because they're still 1-4 at that point. Super tough schedule. Still do. They're going to pop up and win some games here or there, though. I still think it'll be a struggle this season. But they're going to pop up, win some games, and be a better team and have a future because you have a quarterback. That's what this is all about to me. But Brian Daboll, clearly feeling good about where this team is. Winning. They asked him specifically about the Eagles. He just said winning is basically good at any time, right? This is where he's at. He doesn't need wins. They need wins. Any wins. It doesn't matter if it's in the division. Yeah, sure, that helps. Gave the good ball to John Mara afterwards. Praised him for his toughness. John Mara, of course, obviously fighting cancer. But just an all-around great day for the Giants and Brian Daboll, except he did have to apologize. I mean, I'm laughing. It's kind of silly. You got to keep your cool. I mean, come on, man. But he had to apologize to the team doctor because Jaxson Dart, who now has been checked for concussion in 3 of his last 4 games, gotta probably have to get the ball out a little bit quicker, take a few less hits. Don't always try and run and make a big play. Sometimes it's okay just to throw the ball out of bounds. Has he thrown the ball out of bounds yet? If he has, it hasn't been many, if any times. But Brian Daboll, Jaxson Dart has to get checked for concussion. He's in the blue tent. Brian Daboll's poking his head in, which, by the way, we went around with the league. Before the game, they're showing us the blue tent, how the concussion protocol works, and coaches aren't allowed in there, in that blue tent. They're not supposed to be in the blue tent. But he goes and pops his head in there. He's trying to see how Jaxson Dart's doing. Cam Skattebo's going in there. And then, as he's waiting, the camera pans, and Brian Daboll's yelling at the team doctor, Dr. Scott Rodeo. And he has to basically apologize. He said he had to apologize to the team doctor. He said he was just trying to figure, they said he might be coming back, and he just wanted to know how quickly, because if it was quick enough, he would be able to call timeout. Russell Wilson went in there for one play, threw a disastrous pass. I don't know what the heck that was. But he wants his guy, get that guy. He wanted to get that guy in the game, is what Daboll explained. But the fact that he had to go apologize for that, the one, negative for this game, I'm sure on Brian Daboll's ledger, something he would probably, I think he would take back. I would sure hope he would take back. It's not a good look. You don't want to look like you're pressuring anybody when they're going through the concussion protocol to hurry it up. But all in all, a great day. And Brian Daboll was feeling himself for sure. Brian Burns noted after the game, he called in, and they mentioned it on either the pregame show or the broadcast, about there being a defensive team meeting. He said he called it. He felt it in his heart, thought it was necessary. Defense played better. Second half, significantly. Biggest play of the game, Cordell Flott, interception. Giants brought pressure. Talk about Shane Bowen. That defense let up 0 points in the second half, when he brought pressure, created a turnover. Dane Belton knocked the ball out, another turnover. So all like the Giants defense, yes, they got a little bit lucky. Opening drive in the second half, Jalen Hurts misses a wide open Devonta Smith. I think that actually turned the game. But sometimes you need to be fortunate. After that, completely shut him down. Eagles end up with 0 points. They did a good job against Saquon Barkley throughout the game. Ran for 31 yards on the first 2 plays of the game. I was like, okay, he's going to run for 150 today. That's what I thought he was going to do in this game. He ended up with 58 yards. He had 27 yards the rest of the game. 31 yards on the first 2 carries, 27 yards the rest of the game. So the Giants defense did their job. I thought it was kind of interesting because when Dexter Lawrence was asked about Shane Bowen and bringing pressure, he said it with a laugh so that it was a joke, but you don't really know if it's a joke. He said, hey, yeah, we've been on him about that. Ha, ha, ha. About sending pressure. That did catch my attention. So I think the Giants players, they kind of want them to bring more pressure, create more opportunities for everyone. It actually wasn't a great game on the pressures for the Giants. Brian Burns, 2 more sacks. He's playing unbelievable, though. I mean, 7 sacks so far this year. I put out some stats for him this morning. I mean, he's just been tremendous. Tied for first with 7 sacks. Tied for first with 9 tackles for loss. Tied for first with 21 pressures. Tied for 5th with 11 QB hits. Tied for 10th with a 4.0 pressure rate. 3 passes defended. A forced fumble. And Brian Burns, this is the best he's ever played. At least that I've seen it with the Giants. This is the best we've seen Brian Burns. And one last notable from the Giants locker room that really stuck out to me. There was a lot of, how about that offensive line? They know that this unit has been under a lot of pressure. They've been taking a lot of heat. And, a lot of it is well-deserved. Has not been good for years. They've been up and down so far this year. Haven't been great as a run-blocking unit until this game. And they had their best game of the year on Thursday night. And Austin Schlottman, actually, he came in, and John Michael Schmidt got a concussion, and his nose got busted up. And he came in at center. Basically, they split the game the way it turned out, Schmidt leaving. He actually played pretty well, especially in the run game. At least the results show that. I haven't had the opportunity to go back and look specifically at it. But the results with him in the game were pretty good, especially running the ball in the late in the second half. Giants finished that off. Cam Skattebo with 19 rushes, 98 yards. Could have got 100 at the end. Giants just kneeled on the ball. But, yeah, great game from him. Great game from Jaxson Dart. Great game for the morale of the franchise. And even maybe more importantly, the fan base. And we said this after Jaxson Dart's first game, and then the second game kind of was like, it's still the same old problems around him, though. But this game in particular provides hope. Gave even more hope. That, hey, you know what? Maybe at least long term, this franchise is in good hands. I think everybody feels Jaxson Dart is certainly, I don't know if you could find anyone who's going to be like, Jaxson Dart's going to be a bust right now. The way what you've seen it, I know it's only 3 games. It's only 3 games in. You never know. But from 3 games in, I don't think there's a single Giant fan out there who's like, oh, Jaxson Dart might be a bust. No. As a matter of fact, it's probably ranging from he's really good to he's going to be an absolute superstar. And when he plays the way he did on Thursday night, I get it. That's why you're feeling that way. Now we'll see how it ultimately plays out. See another big test next week. That's a tough Denver defense. That might be the best defense in the league when it's all said and done. So that'll be a real test. And then the week after, the Eagles, a ticked-off Eagles team, see if they're able to put it together a little bit. They just lost to the Giants. That'll be another real test. On the road. 2 really, really tough road environments for Jaxson Dart and the Giants coming up. So that's what we got from the locker room. The Giants, their 34-17 victory over the Eagles. An Eagles team that they hadn't beaten in forever. They couldn't even compete with them for much of the past few years. So to do that and do it on national TV, yeah, it's big. On to the next one. All right, so we know that was a good win, right? And so it had me thinking, That was the best Giants win since, right? Because let's talk about what this win was. Okay, the fact that it was on national TV, it was on Thursday night. It was there for the whole world to see. The whole football world was watching, right? That adds to it. The fact that it was against the Philadelphia Eagles, Saquon Barkley, the whole documentary that just came out, that all a little bit, every little thing, even the Saquon thing, adds to it. I mean, Cam Skattebo running for 3 touchdowns. By the way, something that Saquon Barkley has never done as a Giant. Never did as a Giant. Now, most of it not his fault. The Giants' offense was pretty brutal most of his time there. The offensive line, not very helpful. Didn't get put in a lot of situations where that was possible. But it's just the way it worked out. Cam Skattebo just did something that Saquon Barkley never did with the Giants. Jaxson Dart looked great. Looks like he's the future quarterback. They hit on a quarterback. They might have a star in the making. All these things adds to the fact that they won a football game. It's not just a football game for the Giants and for their fans. It's a rare win in the division. They didn't win in the division. They lost 8 straight in the division. Last time they won in the division, the finale of the 2023 season. Again, adds to the glory or the joy of this victory for the Giants and their fans. So it makes me think. This was the best Giants victory since. Okay? And now I'm going to go over some options here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I have 5. And then I'll decide whether this Giants victory was better or worse. Okay? So they had the 2 wins over Seattle. Random wins. One was Coy, but probably like 5 years ago with Joe Judge as the coach. The other one was last year's surprise victory over the Seahawks. Probably their best victories of those 2 seasons, but in the grand scheme of things, bad years, knew they weren't going anywhere, came up out of nowhere, fine. But easily, last night over the Eagles, crushes those. The thing is, I was trying to get 5 options here, couldn't really come up with anything after the 4th. Like that was those 2 Seahawks games are like the best I came up with. So there's really not much to offer. Okay. Now, I have the Ravens during the 2022 season. That was a great one. No one expected them to beat the Ravens. There was a couple other good ones at Tennessee that year. I mean, we could pick which one from that year was best. But to me, whichever one it is. Tennessee in the opener, the way they go for the 2-point conversion. Baltimore, where Lamar Jackson has that turnover. Or Houston, where they run it down their throat. 2 wins ago, the win, actually they tied. The win over Washington, none of them compare to what just happened against the division rival Eagles. Right? That makes it bigger that it's the Eagles, for the most part. It's a division game. A hated rival. Most Giants fans hate anything Philadelphia. You have that aspect to it, so that makes that bigger than the Ravens game. Or the Titans game, whichever one you want to pick there. Or the Commanders game. Eagles over Commanders when you turn in terms of rivalry for the Giants. Easy. And then, the fact that Jaxson Dart, it's sort of this coming out party nationally. Again, this all just adds to it. So, to me, this one over the Ravens in 2022. Now, here's the one that it starts getting close to me. The Colts game in 2022. Coronation, make the playoffs, Daniel Jones. And now I'm not going to downgrade it because it turned out later on with Daniel Jones to go totally sour. But in that moment, he got a standing ovation. They just kicked the crap out of the Colts in that game. Late in the 2022 season, put them in the playoffs. That was a good moment. Still, this one to me is better. It's the Eagles. That was the Colts. This is a primetime game. That was a 1 o'clock game on a Sunday. Sure, it clinched a playoff spot, a surprise playoff spot. Didn't know where that was going to go, right? That season. Nobody thought it was going to go in that direction. But still, to me, this win, better than the Colts, Daniel Jones gets a standing ovation game. Now, here's where it starts to get tough. I have 2 more, okay? Those 3, this is above. But now we're going back to 2016, all right? 2016 opener. Dallas Cowboys, I believe it was a Sunday night game. Victor Cruz comes back. Right? There's hope with this Giants team. They have a new coach in Ben McAdoo. Remember, he just had done a really good job as the offensive coordinator. Eli Manning had his best season in years in 2015, since the Super Bowl year, really, basically, with McAdoo as a coordinator. Victor Cruz is coming back. He had basically just missed 2 years. And the Giants go into Dallas, 92,867 people in that stadium, and they beat the Dallas Cowboys. Victor Cruz scores the game-winning touchdown after missing 2 years. Catches a pass from Eli. Odell Beckham sitting there pretending to take pictures. They end up getting fined for that. Great win. Great win. The hope there with that team, that it actually sprung them to a good season. The Giants had a really good year in 2016. It's been their best year since the Super Bowl. Actually, they won even more games in the regular season. They went 11-5 that year. Now they flamed out, boat trip, playoffs, but that doesn't take anything away from the moment of 2016. So to me, opener 2016, Victor Cruz coming back, scoring the game-winning touchdown, that to me was above this one. Okay? So that to me right now is number 1. Then we have the Minnesota playoff game. And however you felt about, whether the Giants were going to beat the Eagles the next week, that Minnesota playoff game in 2022, everything looked good. Daniel Jones played out of his mind in that game, right? Running the ball, passing the ball. He was great in that game. Set records, right? Did things that people never did. Rushing, passing touchdowns, 300-plus yards. He was great in that game. And it was a really good win. To me, that's still, and I know ultimately them winning that year, but we're judging it in the moment of the win, not the after effect. I'm not taking away from that win because the Giants misjudged their roster. That shouldn't take away from the win in the moment. Now, later on, maybe it hurt them, the fact that they won that season and won that playoff game. But to me, that's the greatest win for the Giants since the 2012 Super Bowl. It goes Minnesota playoff game in 2022. Daniel Jones plays an absolutely amazing game. Saquon Barkley has a strong game. The defense does their part. And the Giants hold on, win by a touchdown, get to face the Eagles. In the next game, they got blown off the field. But that is partly why it makes this game so great. Because the Giants have been overmatched for the Eagles for years. And this showed that maybe, that gap has closed big time. To the point where the Giants beat them. And as long as Jaxson Dart's there, I don't think that gap's going to be as large. Remember, Jaxson Dart is doing this with a receiving core. His top 2 receivers weren't even playing. Little Jordan Humphrey was his number 2 receiver. Wan'Dale Robinson was his number 1 receiver. And Cam Skattebo, out of the backfield, was a weapon. A big-time weapon. So great win. Not the greatest win for the Giants since the Super Bowl in 2011 season. But I have it third on the list. Minnesota playoffs 1. 2016 season opener, Victor Cruz comeback return, win Sunday night in Dallas 2. Jaxson Dart, Cam Skattebo coming out party, Thursday night football, beat the Eagles 3. Little Jordan on the beat here. This is where I tell you what it's like to cover the Giants, work for ESPN, or cover the NFL in general. Take you a little quick whirl around of everything that's been going on lately this week, what's coming up next, the schedule, all that. So, crazy week, because fly home from New Orleans on Monday, walk in the door at 5 o'clock, do with Bobby and Giants Nation show at 7. I almost said talking Giants right there. Did not. Giants Nation show with Bobby a couple hours later, tape that. Giants then have availability all day Tuesday because they don't have the day off because it's a short week. They play on Thursday. So crazy week. They play on Thursday. Actually, before the game, we did something really cool. The NFL took us around, and I'll put it on social at some point. And they showed us how, took us into the blue tent, the x-ray room, and you got a little behind-the-scenes look of how this whole process works, how they do the whole concussion protocol, the spotters. We talked to the spotters up top, the machines, also how they measure the turf, and some of the debate about what's going on between turf versus grass. How is the Giants' new turf actually holding up? Obviously, it became a big deal when Malik Neighbors got injured, so keep an eye out for that. And now they play on Thursday night, get home at 3 o'clock, fall asleep at 4, do DiPietro and Rothenberg. They asked me to come on at 7:45, so I'm on 3 hours sleep right now, taping this. Brian Daboll conference call coming up. Some future programming notes, okay? Podcast we'll do Monday night with Bobby, Giants Nation show, be there. Got some really good feedback recently on that as well. Then we'll do another one later in the week, a Breaking Big Blue later in the week. And also on the book tour as we're coming up, the book, the franchise, New York Giants Curated History of Big Blue. Make sure you order it, available on Amazon. This Saturday, I will be at the Morristown Book Festival, 11 a.m. We're going to do some Giants talk. So if you can, come out. Love to have you out there. We'll talk some Giants, current, future, past, the book. St. Peter's Parish Hall in Morristown, 11 a.m. We're going to have, I'll be on stage talking about Giants. I'll take a bunch of your questions too. If you guys come, you can get a book. I can sign it for you. Anything you want, I'm there. Come out. Love for you to support. Again, Morristown Book Festival, 11 a.m., St. Peter's Parish Hall. And then for my Monmouth County folks, for the people around me, there's another book signing coming up Saturday, actually, in Freehold Barnes & Noble by the Freehold Mall, Raceway Mall, November 15th. So put it on your calendar. November 15th, Freehold Raceway Mall, Barnes & Noble, 1 to 3 p.m. I'll be there signing books. Come buy your book. Come get it. I'll be there. We can talk Giants, whatever you want. Again, make sure you're there. Any other events, if anybody wants me to come out, I'll come out to you. You have bars, country clubs, any place you're willing to have me out. I'll bring some books. We'll talk Giants. I'll sign books for whoever wants. You want it. If there's just a place that wants me to come out there, that maybe wants to host an event like that, let me know. So that's the upcoming schedule. Again, first is this Saturday, St. Peter's Parish Hall, Morristown Book Festival, 11 a.m. I'm looking forward to that one. And then the Giants get back to work on Monday. So get a couple days off here. That's why this is the Victory Friday episode. The first time you're hearing those words muttered on this podcast. You're listening to Breaking Big Blue. As always, like, subscribe, tell your friends, buy a book. You know what to do. You're listening to Breaking Big Blue. See you next time.